Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Elise and this is my mystical Christmas tree. So for this month of December and probably like 1 week in January, because there's not that many Sundays of December left, I'll be posting videos next to my mystical Christmas tree. So I hope that you enjoy that. And I just thought it would be a fun thing to do for it's my first Christmas as a YouTuber, so that's kind of cool. And I think Christmas is like the 6-month anniversary of my channel being live, so that's also really cool. But anyway, yeah, so this is gonna be my setting for the next like 4 videos, I would say, yeah. So without further ado, let's get into my mystical Christmas tree. So today I have for you A Miracle Creek Christmas by, what's her name? Krista Lynne Jensen. Oh my gosh. I listened to this book in November and I'm like, let me just say, this was a really good book. It was a 5-star, totally no notes, it was perfect. I loved this book. It was so good. It was like a Hallmark movie, but like, how do I describe it? If you guys like Hallmark movies, then you will know what I'm talking about. It's like the Hallmark Movies and Mysteries channel. Those are the Hallmark movies that are a little more serious, and they cover a deeper meaning, really, than the fluffy, traditional Hallmark movies. That's basically what this book is. And that's really the kind of Hallmark books that I like. The ones that aren't super fluffy. Like, don't get me wrong, I love listening to a fluffy book. I pretty much listen to fluffy books all the time. That's basically my thing. It's like fluffy fantasy books. But every once in a while, I like to, change it up a little bit and experience a more serious book. Especially around Christmas. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the time of year. I feel more sentimental in this time of year for Christmas, and sometimes a fluffy book just doesn't cut it. So this is something that is more serious, but it's also got its fluffy moments, which is like a Hallmark Movie and Mysteries channel movie. Those are like more serious, but they also have their points of fluff, which is what I enjoy. So basically this book is about Riley Madigan. She is this woman who moves to the Sleepy Mountain town, Miracle Creek, after she has this relationship that ends badly. But we don't really learn about that fully, like on the first couple minutes of the book. It's sort of more we dive deeper into Riley's personal life after she moves to Miracle Creek. So when I was first listening to this, we didn't necessarily know that Riley had dated this actor and that she was very badly hurt by him. But we learn a lot about Riley as this book goes on. And for the time being, she is a teacher at this school in Miracle Creek. I forgot what kind of teacher she is. I feel like she's an art teacher. That sounds right. I'm pretty sure Riley's an art teacher in this book. So we go through her personal life, like in slow patterns in this book. So like she moves to Miracle Creek. We don't really know much about her besides that she moved from the hustle and bustle of her town where she used to live. And she used to be an artist, like a full-time artist. And I think she kind of stopped doing it because she felt so heartbroken over what had happened with her in this relationship. And like I said, we don't really get deep into it until like a quarter of the way through, or 3/4 of the way through maybe, because I didn't really understand why Riley was so guarded at first, because it wasn't really fully explained. But I mean, that was okay. I knew that Riley had gone through something, I just didn't really know what she went through, which I was fine with. I really liked Riley as a character. She was very likable, and she was definitely relatable. I'm trying to see if I have any notes on this book, because I don't think I do, but regardless. And then we also have Mark, who is a firefighter, and he also lives in Miracle Creek, and his backstory is like super tragic. Like this is where it gets kind of heavy and like deep in this book. It's definitely not a lighthearted Christmas read. So if you are more into lighthearted Christmas books, I would suggest skipping this. But if you, like I said, if you enjoy like the Hallmark Movies and Mysteries channel, like they have serious topics mixed in with the fluff, then I think you'll really like this, because Mark's backstory is pretty deep. Like, he's a firefighter, and he got trapped in a fire, basically, on duty. And one of his friends had passed away in the fire, because he and his friend were trying to save these 6 boys from this fire, and his friend didn't end up making it, but Mark did. But Mark has severe burns as a result, and this obviously was such a tragic thing for him that Mark kind of like closed himself off for a while as a result of this, which I thought was so sad. Like, I felt really bad for Mark. He was one of the characters where I felt like he really deserved having someone good in his life, because he was also in a relationship before he was in this fire. And after his disfigurement, his girlfriend, who I think he was going to propose to, or he had already proposed to her, I don't remember exactly because I read it like a month ago, but his girlfriend or fiance basically left him because she couldn't handle that he had went through all of this, and he didn't look the same. He was very disfigured as a result, which I thought was really sad. And like, why would anyone even think about leaving someone for a reason like that? Like, it's so shallow. Like, so she basically like ghosted him. Like, she went to visit him in the hospital for a little bit, like a few weeks, I think is what is explained to the reader. And then all of a sudden she's just stopped visiting him. And that's what I think really got me, is that she had visited him so many times and so often and kept this relationship going, but really she wasn't in it fully anymore. And so she basically left Mark, and Mark was like on top of all of this, on top of the PTSD from the fire, on top of losing his best friend, which is really crappy. And then his girlfriend / fiance leaves him, and I'm just like, wow, he really got, I don't know how to say this nicely, but for lack of a better term, he got really shit on in this book. Like, seriously, his life was not the greatest. And so he is kind of a recluse when we first meet him. He doesn't really have any friends. He doesn't really talk to anybody, really. He's kind of a loner. He lives with his dad after the accident, which I thought was sweet. His dad's super nice. Like, it's really great to see a father-son relationship, honestly. Like, that's something that I've noticed I haven't really read a whole lot about, but it is really nice to see like a really loving father-son relationship, because I feel like I read most books that are female-oriented, which makes sense because I'm a woman, and I would relate to those more. But really, with Miracle Creek Christmas, like, yes, it's about Riley, but really, I think the main character is Mark. I think his story is the main story. I think he's the reason that the reader cares so much about this book, is because of him and his relationship that grows with Riley, because the reader understands that he's been through a lot, and it's very beautiful to see Mark grow as a character. His character arc is really the best one out of the both of them. They both learn to go through their trauma together, but seeing Mark grow as a person in this book and learn to trust people again, it's really a really good read. It was totally beautiful to listen to. So Mark and Riley, they first meet each other at this Christmas play, and Mark has a sister, and his sister is grown up and she's married, and she has this daughter who is his niece, and she invites Mark to go see the play, and he can't say no, obviously, because it's his niece, and his niece is like 8 years old, so he's super involved with his family, which is something that I also thought was really nice and very nice, interesting to read about, is someone who has strong family values. That's one of the main things I love about these more serious Christmas books, is they touch on deeper topics, and they're very family and faith based. This book is definitely revolves around faith and putting your trust in God. That's something that I also thought was really sweet about this book. So he goes to this play for his niece, and it's his first time really being out since his accident, I guess, or the fire that he went through. I don't know what else to call it besides an accident, because there's really no better way to put that. But yeah, and everyone in the town, they really like Mark. Like, even though Mark feels like he's a monster because of his disfigurement, like, he feels ostracized, but really, the town loves him because he saved these little boys. Like, him and his friend, they really did save them. Like, they saved them from a very dangerous fire. And Mark is really considered a hero in this book. But Mark doesn't feel like a hero. He feels like a monster, like I said. And it's really sad because he thinks people look down on him because of his disfigurement, which I'm sure some people probably do. Like, I mean, if I saw someone I think half of his face is disfigured, like, he goes through the book with his main habit being, he only shows really one side of his face. Like, he'll deliberately turn his good side towards somebody and, like, have his disfigured side, like, hiding in the shadows. And for a while in the book, it says that he, like, wears a hood over his whole face so that people don't get startled when they look at him, which I thought that was so sad to see, or to listen to, really. Like, I couldn't imagine going through something like that and thinking that, what are people going to think of me when they see me? Like, I look so not like them. I think with this, it really made me think of Beauty and the Beast, too. Because the Beast is kind of seen as this monster. But the Beast isn't revered like Mark is. Mark's obviously revered as a hero. But it sort of has, like, loose Beauty and the Beast vibes to me, because I feel like Riley, when she sees Mark, she doesn't even, like, notice his disfigurement, which I thought was interesting. Like, everyone that Mark really meets and sees, they do pay attention to his disfigurement. They know what happened to him. They know why his face is like this. But it's interesting to see Riley meet him and not judge him based on his looks. She judges him based on his personality. And the way that they meet is actually really funny. It was very comical. Like, it made me chuckle a little bit while listening to it at work. It was like Mark had his hood up. He wasn't really into it. He was only there for his niece. But then he sees Riley, and Riley was helping with the set and painting it. I think she was helping the school get the set together because she's a painter and she's an art teacher. And I think they had asked her to like help paint the set or something. And Mark notices that the set is painted really beautifully and he wonders who did it. But then he also sees Riley in like the wings of the play, like she's watching from behind the scenes, because I think she was also asked to like help like the kids and stuff get costume changed and whatnot. So she's in like the wings of the play. She's not really in the forefront. And Mark has his hood up in the audience and he like notices her and is like, wow, she's beautiful. I want to meet her and stuff like that. And it's super cute. It's like a love at first sight kind of thing, I think. And I don't think Riley notices him at first because she's busy with the play and stuff. But afterwards, she kind of notices that this guy with his hood up is like noticing her and like looking at her, and like she's kind of freaked out, understandably. Like I feel like I'd be a little freaked out if someone was like with the hood up looking at me. But so she doesn't really know Mark yet. And so she leaves, and Mark is kind of like socially awkward because he's been a recluse for so long. And this part, it's a little bit creepy what he did, but like I can understand why he did it because he doesn't really have a lot of experience like recently with talking to people, especially talking to women who are pretty and like around his age. So it's understandable why he did what he did. But he like follows Riley out of the school and like drives and like wants to talk to her and stuff. And it's kind of creepy, just a little bit. It's a little bit creepy. And Riley obviously gets freaked out. And Riley like comes with this like bat. I don't know. I think she had it in her car for some reason. But she's like, I am gonna hit you or something if you don't leave me alone. And he's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I just wanted to talk to you and like introduce myself and stuff. So that was kind of funny. Like listening to that, I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting way for characters to meet. Like he like notices her right away. It's like, oh, she's really pretty. But she doesn't even notice him at first. And even when they do meet together and like he takes off his hood and he's like, I'm so sorry, I was being creepy. I just haven't really gotten out much. And it's not even fazed by him like looking the way that he looks, which I thought was cool. And so they get to know each other and he finds out that she painted the set and he asks her to do this special project for him because his mom had passed away a couple years ago from cancer, I think. And that was kind of sad too. I just feel like Mark had all this stuff going on in his life. Like his mom passed away, and then he had this fire thing, and then his girlfriend left him, and then all this. It's just like one thing after another, it seemed, with Mark. But yeah, so he gets the courage to talk to Riley after that meet and greet, I guess. Like loosely meet and greet. Like I'm not trying to be creepy kind of meet and greet, which I thought was funny. But so yeah, they get to know each other after that. And he asks her to paint this nativity set for him, for his dad, for a Christmas present. And another like layer of this story is like why Riley doesn't like Christmas, which I thought was interesting too. It was a very interesting layer, and it's almost like Riley was not very faith-based in the beginning of this book. Like I could tell that she believes in something, but it's not necessarily like the typical Catholic God. It was like almost agnostic, I would say. Like she has an agnostic belief in the very beginning of the book. So she's like, yeah, I mean, I guess I'll paint the nativity set for you. I mean, why not? And so it's interesting that it's also, along with a character development for Mark, it's also a faith journey for Riley. So I think that was like the twofold for the book being one of my favorite books of the year so far. Like the year's almost over, but this is definitely one of my favorite books of the year. yeah, it was like twofold for me. Like, I enjoyed that it was a character arc and character development of Mark, and seeing him grow and seeing him come out of his comfort zone, come out of his shell, and actually feel like a person again. And he did it while meeting Riley. And then Riley, on the other hand, goes through this faith journey where she's like, what do I believe in? Why am I here? Why is all this stuff happening to me? And she kind of, like towards the end of the book, I feel like she converts to believing in, I don't know if it's necessarily the Catholic God, but she goes to having trust in God and having trust that things happen to people and that sometimes they're not right, sometimes it feels wrong, but it's not necessarily anyone's fault. Like, in the end, it felt like she wasn't blaming God anymore. It didn't feel like she was, like, cursing the fact that all these things happened to her. Like, yeah, she went through a bad breakup, and yeah, her parents weren't always there for her, but she understood in her heart that all of these things led up to her really being who she is right now, which I thought was really powerful. Like, someone going through that faith journey. And I think what helped the faith journey with Riley especially is seeing Mark. Like, Riley had, I feel like, not that it's a competition. I don't think it's a competition whatsoever with their issues. Like, Riley had gotten cheated on, and that was bad. And Riley's parents, they were super nice, but they weren't really all there for Riley, which I thought was kind of sad. So she had sort of neglectful parents, which is also really sad. That's bad. That's not a good thing. And it's not a competition, but I feel like her life was put into perspective by being put into Mark's life, is what I'm trying to say. Like, she looks at Mark and he has faith throughout the whole book. Like, he's like, I believe in God, I believe in Jesus, I believe in Christmas, I believe in all this, and I have hope. And Riley just looks at him and is like, you went through all of this stuff, and you still believe in God, and you still believe in Jesus, and you still believe in Christmas? And she just can't believe it. She really can't believe it. Like, she just is flabbergasted as faith. And I think that's the most beautiful part to me, is that Riley, like, her faith grew by watching Mark have hope. And that is really what made it one of the best Christmas books I've read in a long time, because I feel like I haven't read a Christmas book that really touched my heart in a way like that. Like, to see someone who had kind of a lack of faith in God and then have them grow and have a greater faith in God from being in the path of someone else. It's really interesting how these two people were brought together and their faith together grew, and it grew into love. And Riley and Mark ended up getting together, and at the end of the book, they're a couple, and it's super cute, and it's very nice, and it's not tied up in a neat little bow or anything like that. They go through a bunch of issues. They have conflict. They're not a perfect couple by any means. And I think that's one of the really great things about this book, is it's not a clean, like, it's not a neat tied with a bow wrap ending. It feels like a real ending. Like, Riley and Mark went through a lot of hard stuff to get to where they are and to get to the point where they were in a stable relationship. And it felt real, and their faith journey together felt real. And Riley's faith journey from agnostic to believing in God and having hope felt real. And that's what I loved about this book the most, is that journey of Mark feeling like a person again because of Riley, and then Riley believing in God because of Mark, or being led to believe in God again because she saw the hope that Mark had. And she changed into being a better person because of it. And they both changed into being better people, because Mark was more outgoing at the end. He felt more like himself again. He felt like he was a better person. And then Riley also felt like a better person. They just made each other better. That's what I love about these two love interests, is they made each other better. That's the goal when I read a romance, is that do the people that are put together make each other better? Because if they don't, then what's the point of them being together? Because like if you love someone and they love you back, you're going to become a better version of yourself. And that is one of the best lessons that I learned from Miracle Creek Christmas, is that hope and love can help change someone into being a better person. And this book is more serious than the other ones that I have covered. And this is more of a very heart-touching, heartwarming. This is more of a serious video than my other ones I feel like I've posted. I don't feel as goofy with this one. But I hope that if you read this, that it resonates with you. And I hope that it's a lovely reading experience for you if you read this book, because it really was a lovely reading experience for me. I loved the author. I have read more books by her. She's a very great author. I totally love her work now. She's one of my favorites. And I also loved the narrator, Christine Williams. She was also really good. She really brought life to the story and life to the characters. And if you want a sentimental, faith-based romance Christmas book, I totally suggest that you listen to this or you read it, because it is very thought-provoking and really provides that true spirit and feeling of Christmas. So yeah, those are my thoughts on it. And I hope you enjoyed this video, because I enjoyed making it. And I just want to say thank you for all of my new subscribers. I noticed I have 18 subscribers now, which makes me overjoyed, honestly. I love making videos, and I hope that you guys love watching them. And if you feel so inclined, please leave me a comment. I would love to hear from you, and I would love to talk to you in the comments about this book. And if you've read it, share your thoughts on it with me, and maybe we can chat about it in the comments. But that's it for this video, so thank you for watching, and thank you for your support, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye, friends.